Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Wave Channel 5 Greenville Public Access Television as we continue the Our Town series in conjunction with Main Street Greenville. And today we come to the corner of 5th and Broadway, and from the noise in the background you can tell we've come to the Coffee Pot up here, and the owners are Amber and Rob Garrett. And Rob, let's talk just a little bit. This is one of the focal points of downtown. How did you folks arrive here? And let's talk a little bit about your background and how this all came to be.
Sure. Well, we actually both have always been big fans of coffee. Part of hanging out when we would get together with friends and stuff in high school and just out of high school is that we would just get together and drink coffee and hang out and talk. And we loved coffee shops. We loved going to diners. And so it's something that we've always kind of wanted to do. And like you said, this is kind of one of the focal points of downtown Greenville, and we kind of always thought about having a shop in here, and we just started kind of planning, and it just kind of worked out as far as timing when we were ready to start actually looking for a space. This space was available. So.
Yeah. Now, Amber is, of course, the executive director of Main Street Greenville, and you've had some various backgrounds as far as photography and then out at the Brethren home. And then how'd this all come about for you? I mean, it had to be a dual decision, right?
It really was. We've both, like you said, we own a photography company together. We both used to photograph weddings and senior portraits, family portraits. And so we've both run a business together, and we knew that we could handle that and do that. And so when we talked about doing a coffee shop, like he said, we've talked about it since we were in high school. We were friends in high school. He graduated in 99, me in 2000. So we've known each other a long time before we got married. And then when we started seriously talking about it, we, our son was involved in the process. He actually was the one that came up with the name, the Coffee Pot.
He wasn't very old at the time, was he?
Not. He was only, I think, 7 or 8 when we started talking about the business and what we were going to, do. And so he was involved in the process. We made it a family thing, and it was really neat to see it all come to fruition together.
Now, how long have you folks had the Coffee Pot here?
It was October 1st of 2011, so it'll be 4 years, the 1st of October this year. Okay. Yeah.
Now, of course, this has been various things over the years. Did you have to do a lot of remodeling or anything when you opened up 4 years ago?
No, luckily, some very kind Greenville citizens got together. I think the renovations were completed in 2003, so I'm not sure when they started the process, but this building's been here forever. It was the Palace Department Store originally, then it became Allman's Department Store, and then it became Stage. And so it's always been, like you said earlier, a focal point of downtown and a place to come and shop. And then it just kind of went empty, and a few citizens got together and put a lot of money and a lot of hard work and a lot of design and sort of restoring the building back to its original glory. The ceilings are all original. They exposed all the brick on the side. Through the 70s and 80s, a lot of places went through and they did drop ceilings and all this stuff. So they were able to come through, add what they needed to do to make it something other than a department store, but at the same time retain all the greatness that was here before. So
I have to ask this question because, of course, the television show Friends was so popular. Is this kind of patterned after Friends a little bit? Because, I walked in here, and Nick came in with the camera, and all of a sudden, we've got the exposed bricks and a beautiful ceiling and all this, and we've got people just sitting here playing cards, talking, reading papers. Is that how you came up with this?
Well, when we decided we wanted to open a coffee shop, it was very much a community-driven space. That was from the get-go. Music, games, people using it as an office space. We know that when you get together with friends and talk over coffee, great things can happen. Whether it be just great conversation, great ideas, or sitting here by yourself and learning something new, whether it be studying or painting or drawing, and all of that happens here, and it's amazing to see that. And we're very creative individuals, and so to see us give the community a space that allows that to happen as well, it means a lot to us. So that was a big part of this whole process.
Now, this is the front part, and there's other businesses, and of course, go on back through here. So you're open all the way through. You can close yourself off though, but But you get a lot of walkthrough business. What is it? M&M, Canteen Shop, and Delicios,
And
correct?
Delicios, yep, it's great. We all have a really good camaraderie, I think, here. On the second level, there's a lot of office spaces. We have an attorney, the Darke County the Economic Development is upstairs, but with a diner in the back, and then Delicios, and then us for a long time, and then recently last year the Canteen Shop opened, so it's a nice retail space downtown. It's just really nice sharing the space with people and being able to have their customers come through, our customers. Sometimes we have people up here during music that will order a pizza from Delicios and they bring it up here and eat it, so it works out really nice.
Dessert and coffee after dinner, so it works out.
Yeah.
We all get along very well.
Well, this is Rob and Amber Garrett, and we're going to be back in a little bit and talk some more as we take a look at the things that make downtown Greenville what it is, as we're here at the Coffee Pot on the corner of 3rd and 5th and Broadway. Excuse me. We'll be back in just a moment. Back here at the Coffee Pot with Rob and Amber Garrett. Rob, the kind of ambiance and atmosphere you want to create up here. Let's talk a little bit. What's kind of a typical experience for people coming in here?
Sure. Well, like we were talking about before, you brought up the television show Friends, which was really popular in the 90s. And 90s was really when specialty coffee shops really started kind of becoming very popular in the United States. And I think you have shows like Friends and Frasier where the characters spend a lot of time in coffee shops just kind of talking and conversing and stuff. And like coffee shops, obviously coffee's been around for forever, and coffee shops have been around forever, cafes, and it's just, there's a romantic sort of idea about a coffee shop. People have written sonnets, novels, plays, they like so much has sort of been created out of the atmosphere of the romantic idea of a coffee shop. And so when the people who we mentioned earlier did such a great job renovating this space, when we were coming in, like we were saying, it was a community. Having a space for the community was the number one goal. So we kind of looked at this as being Greenville's living room, where everybody kind of goes to hang out and talk and do whatever. And so our goal as far as the space, because so much of it was done, was to just respect the space and just kind of continue to maintain it and keep it a comfortable atmosphere for everybody.
Now, this was also another coffee shop, gathering place prior, and I forget the name of this.
There was two before us. It was actually renovated specifically for Broadway Joe's, and they were here for, I believe, about 7 or 8 years. In this space. They had a coffee shop down the street before that, but when they went and renovated the space, I don't know if they approached the people who were doing it or they were approached, but it was renovated with them in mind. And then another coffee shop called Sweet 101 came in, and they were here for about a year and a half. And we came in after them. Now, it's interesting with Sweet 101, what Sweet 101 did really, 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 really well was pies. Carol Hayworth, Terry and Carol Hayworth were the owners of Sweet 101. And Carol really made a name for herself in that very short period on being a really great pie maker. And so when we decided to open up our shop in this space, we approached Carol, and it was kind of pivotal that she come on board with us and run the kitchen. And so she takes care of all the pies. All our pies are made from scratch: cakes, cookies. She came up with recipes for salads, homemade soups during the week. We do lunch from 11 to 2. So she really does a lot for us in the kitchen and helping us out.
The lunch menu, is that something you've added on then, the lunch?
We've changed it. It's grown. We've expanded it to offer some different things, but they did have a lunch menu as well. I think one thing that when we had the first initial conversation with Carol was, you do pies and baking really well. We know coffee really well in the community, atmosphere that we want to create, where she was so busy before with just the pies, it was hard for them to do any of the other ideas that they had. So it was really like, hey, we're going to change some things you were doing about the coffee that we think could be a little bit better, but man alive, those pies and your baking, there's no reason to change that. You're amazing at that. And so we were able to hire her then as our baker, and she brings lots of people in just for her crust in general, not to mention, just all the other baked goods she does.
Now, you have a lot of steady clientele that have been with you for years. You also get quite a few people that stop in, they've heard about it. And then how do you promote the business?
Well, Facebook was huge, especially when we first opened the business. Facebook has changed a lot in the last 4 years, which is really unfortunate because it used to be really easy for small businesses to get free marketing through Facebook. You can still do it, but it does not have the same effect as it used to. But we use Instagram, Facebook, our website, flyers for the shows that we do, putting posts on Dark Journal or through the newspaper. We do ads as well. You're always just trying to get the word out. It just is still amazing that, here we are in this prime spot, yet you're still always hearing people say, I never knew that existed. And you just want to go, how do you not know? But so these videos, hopefully people will realize that there are some great businesses downtown and that if they haven't been downtown in a long time, that they'll come and visit. So
you can tell Amber swung into her role as executive director of the...
It's always going. It's always going. Yeah.
How many employees do you folks have here anyhow? Because you say you're here quite a bit. Of course, Amber has to split time.
Right.
But how many employees do you have?
We have 10 currently, and it changes. We've actually been really lucky. These type of jobs usually have a really high turnover rate as far as employees go. We've been really lucky, and we have about half our staff is our core members that have been here since we started. And we actually hired a couple employees from who worked for Terry and Carol. So they've been in this space for going on 5 or 6 years now. And so we've been really lucky with our staff. And the only kind of turnover we have is when somebody's leaving for college. And when they leave for college, they come back for the summer and work. So we've been really lucky with staff.
Well,
yeah.
I think luck, plus you guys have good people skills and treat your employees right. Sure. We're going to come back just a little bit. We're going to talk about the menu and then some special events they host up here on 5th and Broadway at the Coffee Pot. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay. Rob, we've already talked about Carol Hayworth and the pies and different pastries that way. What else do we have here on the menu? Some of your better sellers, and then you talked a little bit about the luncheon crowd with the salads and soups and sandwiches too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a pretty steady lunch crowd Monday through Saturday, 11 to 2. We have a handful of different wraps that we offer. And a handful of different salads, and Carol makes homemade soup every day. She makes it from scratch. So that.
Is there a soup of the day plus then a regular soup, or how do you work that?
No, it just kind of depends. When we started out, lunch was a lot more inconsistent, and there are still days where we'll sell out of soup, and there are some days where we won't. So it's hard, not being not being just a restaurant, some place like Bob Evans or something can afford to have a soup of a day because that's where their business lies. It's only a small portion of what we do. And so we post it on Facebook every day and it changes, and everybody definitely has their favorite soup. It also helps people come back in. If they know their favorite soups on Mondays, they may just come in on Mondays. But if they come in on Wednesday thinking, wondering if they have their favorite soup, and if we don't, that also kind of lends itself to them trying a different soup that day if they came in for something else. So,
now, does your menu vary then? Have you played around with it over the years?
Yeah, the salads, we have different salads this year, which are amazing. I'm going to plug those a little bit because the summer salad is incredible. If you like strawberries and oranges on your salad, you need to give it a try. Anyways.
We can plug it and say it's incredible because we didn't come up with it, Carol did. So
I'm telling you, Carol is our kitchen guru for sure. So we change that. We allow her creativity. That's what she enjoys to do. And Rob is especially with the coffee in the front of the house and making sure that everything, is handled properly. I think the coffee is a huge part of, the traditional recipes, and, Rob will be able to talk about that a little bit more, but as to why we found it so important to make sure that we are offering the traditional recipes, we are offering a good product, that we are teaching our staff how to pull shots correctly, but he can talk about that much more than I can.
I was going to say, you had to do some training, a lot of background work, and where do you get your coffees from?
The coffees we're using right now, primarily they all come from Boston Stoker, which is a local roaster in Vandalia, Ohio, and they've been around since the late 70s, and they were really on the early, like the front lines of the specialty coffee movement. They were in it. It started as a cigar shop, and it's a very long story because they have such a storied past. But basically, the cigar shop and the owner would start roasting his own beans. Well, he started offering coffee, and the coffee wasn't good enough for him, so he started buying beans and roasting his own beans. One thing led to another. People wanted to start buying his beans. And here we are, 40 some years later.
And so you saw just not only a person come in and say, I just want a cup of coffee, but then you've got everything else.
Yeah, well, one of the big movements, when I say specialty coffee, it really just means espresso-based drinks became really popular in the 90s. And, there's the joke, people are always talking about the $4 or $5 cup of coffee. And coffee takes a long journey from where it's grown, who's growing it, until it gets into our cup. And it's just a special thing. And I was a big fan. My neighbor worked at a coffee shop, and I became friends with the guy who owned a coffee shop a long time ago. And I started drinking espresso and trying all the traditional drinks and everything. And I was just hooked.
You were over caffeinated, right?
Yes, I was. Yeah, and so
Rob's the one downtown always has a glazed look on his
right.
face.
So when we decided to open our shop, we wanted to do it right. I had a little bit of experience working at a coffee shop, but I actually, checked out several different roasters from across the country. I traveled to Chicago and did an intensive training, 2-day training with the head trainer at a place called Intelligentsia Coffee, which is one of the premier specialty coffee roasters and shops in the world. And so that was just always really important to us. Also through the 90s, when Friends and Frasier made it popular, in places like Starbucks, it sort of, specialty coffee lost its way, and you just had a lot of venti, caramel macchiato, whatever it is. There's just a lot of it. And what's happened over the last 10 years is that you've seen a resurgence in more traditional shops, places who offer espresso, cappuccinos, lattes, but the traditional version. As an example, a cappuccino is a 6 to 8 ounce drink. Period.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a large cappuccino.
No grandes.
No grandes, no. When you start getting that big, you change the milk to coffee ratio and automatically kind of becomes a latte. But people call them different things, and it becomes confusing for a lot of people. We get a lot of people coming in and they're confused at what they're asking for, and so we try to keep our menus simple and ask them questions to sort of guide them to what they want.
People really, one of the biggest things that we found when we got started was a lot of people would come in and order a cappuccino and think they were going to get what they got at the gas station. the automatic
Speedway special?
Yeah, and it's like, no, that's not at all what this is like. That's powder and water, and that's not a cappuccino. And so you have to re-educate. And luckily, our staff have been trained to ask questions to make sure that the customer gets what kind of drink that they're really looking
I
for.
assume repeat customers have been coming in long enough, they walk in the door and the people behind the counter pretty much know what they're going to order?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We have, it's funny. Rob will be talking to a staff member and trying to explain something that happened earlier in the day, and he'll be like, large hazelnut latte guy. Like that's kind of just because names, not always do our customers do they get to know the name, so they do learn to know them by their drink.
We know everybody's drinks, that's for sure.
Yeah. As soon as they walk in.
What, this beautiful bar, whatever we have back, was this already here?
It was in this space. One of the things when
Where did it come from?
well, the bar, when they originally renovated this building, the third space where the canteen shop is now, I think the original idea was that it was going to be an old-fashioned creamery. And so I don't remember how, but somehow they found this it came out of an old saloon in New York. So it's the real deal. It needed a little work. The mirror and the cabinetry and stuff is all new. But it had just been sitting in storage for years because the creamery never opened for whatever reason. I'm not sure how that whole thing played out, but it was just kind of sitting in storage. And when Terry and Carol opened up Sweet 101, they started serving ice cream in this space as well. And it was just sitting in storage, and they're like, hey, why don't you just store it here? So,
And a lot of people they equate the coffee pot with ice cream, but you've got a fountain basically, right?
Yeah, it's actually based out of Utica, Ohio, so it is made in Ohio, which is great. And how many? 11 different flavors, 12 different flavors. Usually have a seasonal flavor that changes out. It's amazing ice cream. It's really, really good. So yeah, you can get shakes and different drinks as well. But usually a lot of kids, when they come in, if their parents get, a specialty coffee drink, the parents will get their kids a small scoop of ice cream. And so it's a cheap way for the parents to still get their kids a treat while get their caffeine fix.
Well, and it's great too that you're able to serve the whole family that way. Let's talk just a second about any special events? Do you have music up here and things of that nature?
We do. Music's been a really big part of our life as well, and also within the coffee shop culture. You know, it's people think coffee shops, I'm sure, thinking of, you know, like an amateur poet reciting a poem or something isn't far away, and especially the singer-songwriter up on their guitar, you know, singing Bob Dylan songs.
Yeah, everybody's got berets and snapping their fingers. Yeah.
Right. So, yes. So we do a lot of live music. Right now we're doing live music on First Fridays. We went for a while, depends on the season, but we went for a while where we have music every Friday, and we're working towards actually getting back to that, to where you can look forward to having music here every Friday. But right now we're kind of relegated to the First Fridays. And we also have ticketed events. There's a somewhat local musician. He's from the Troy area, but he's in a band called Hawthorne Heights, and somebody told him about a coffee shop here in Greenville, so he came and checked out the coffee pot, and he loved it, and he said, hey, I want to play a show, and he's toured the entire world. He's still touring now. They've had videos on MTV and stuff, and so it was a really kind of a cool thing to get that email from him. And he's played here a couple times on his own. He's had the full band here, and then even one time, just because of that connection with him, we had a movie actor come. He's also a musician, and he played a set here. It's he was in the American Pie movies, and he was the kid. He played the main character in Rookie of the Year. Okay. But it was pretty cool. So people came up, and he signed autographs and everything, and we did tickets, and it was really, really cool. People were getting their pictures taken with them, and that was really neat to be able to be in a position to, you know, facilitate that and to be able to have the community come out and enjoy
the music's been a big part of it here for the past 3 years. And one reason, when we were in high school, there really wasn't anywhere local to go to listen to music. I mean, there just was not. And so we would actually, in high school, drive to the Oregon District. There was a place in the Oregon District that would have jazz on Thursday nights, and we would have jazz night. And our friends in high school, we'd jump in a car, we'd travel the Oregon District, we'd sit and drink coffee, and we'd listen to jazz. And so it's always been something that us and our friends really cared about. And we, you know, so when we had this space, we were like, we've got to bring some music in for people to come and on a regular basis be able to not have to travel out of town, but to see musicians in their own, you know, their own community. So yeah, always trying to add things.
Well, I know it's just been a big part of the community, the coffee pot. You guys have done a great job with this. Hours.
Mm-hmm. We're open at 6. Yeah, we're open 7 days a week. Monday through Friday, we're open at 6:30 in the morning. We close at 8 Monday through Thursday. I wish it was just the same time, but you know, not hours. You know, hours on Monday don't necessarily work for hours on Sunday. So Monday through Thursday, we're 6:30 to 8. Friday, we're 6:30 to 9. Saturday, we are 7:30 to 4, and then we're open on Sundays 11 to 4. And I think a lot of people still don't realize that we're open on Sundays. We still get, I think just this last Sunday, someone came in and was like, I didn't realize you guys were open on Sundays. And it's been, you know, like we said, going on 4 years. So, but yeah, there's not a lot of other people open downtown on Sundays, but the diner's open in the back, and then we're open here. And so it's nice. We have our regulars on Sunday. It's a nice, quiet day. Yeah.
Now, in addition to that, we got to ask Amber, because she is the executive director of Main Street Greenville. The revitalization of Greenville, as we've done these shows, the downtown area, the people that have the businesses and the stores are fascinating, their stories. And a lot of you folks out there, if you haven't been down here, you've got to get down here, right?
Yeah. I mean, just to come down and support the local businesses. You know, a lot of the times we hear people say that they want downtown to be what it once was. Well, downtown will never truly be what it once was, because society is not what it once was, and Greenville's not what it once was. The whole, you know, country is not. And so, but to keep our downtown to where it is a place to be proud of, and a place that has great options for shopping and dining and all of that, you have to support these businesses at least once a month, once a week. Try to add it to your, you know, make it a point, you know, make it an actual point that, you know, think about it, that you're giving back to the community, because we hear all the people say that they want great restaurants and great places to shop, but yet they travel out of town for every single thing they need. And while I understand that you might not be able to find everything you need in Greenville or downtown, but think about it before you purchase something and say, okay, is there some place downtown that I could purchase this, that I could enjoy this? Or saying, you know, on a Saturday morning, going to a coffee shop, grabbing a cup of coffee, going to the farmer's market, doing some shopping. If you haven't been here, you don't know what's here. Things have changed a lot in the last couple years, and we really encourage everybody to get out and check it out. So,
once again, if they want to get in touch or know more about the Coffee Pot, websites, everything else, how do they find out more about you folks?
I'm going to pass this along.
that's my job. Yes. Facebook, follow us, Our Coffee Pot. Instagram, we're Our Coffee Pot. And then the website is www.ourcoffeepot. So, yeah.
And for the older crowd out there, I almost hate to ask this, do you even have a landline?
We have a landline.
You do, and your phone number is?
It's 937-459-5498.
Okay, I wasn't sure. You know, as technologically advanced as you guys are, I thought, well, they probably don't have a phone up here. Oh, shit. Well, hey, this has been great.
Yes.
And we certainly enjoyed our time up here. And you folks out there, I know a lot of you have been here, but if you haven't been, well, you talk about a friendly place to come and enjoy a cup of coffee and do other things with friends and family. This is a place to come, right?
Thank you. Yes, I like to think so.
Yeah, we like it.
Okay. Well, it's been Amber and Rob Garrett up here at the Coffee Pot on 5th Street and Broadway. So on behalf of Nick Schmidt, our videographer, I'm Alex Warner. Thanks once again for watching these shows here as we take a look at the downtown businesses and stores that make up downtown Greenville, the town we live in. We'll see you next time here on the Wave Channel 5, or you can watch us on YouTube. Good night, everybody.